Well, it's that time of year again. Let's go talk some free agents. Before I get started, if you are new to the channel, think about subscribing down below. Hit the like button, the bell button, the share button. I don't know, hit whatever other buttons there are. Starting off my list at number 50, I have Adam Frazier. Not too much with the bat this past season, only hitting .238 with a .311 slugging and a .301 on base, but plays a lot of different positions. Second, short, can play some outfield. Also did hit pretty well in 2021. Let's see if that bat can come alive. Either way, he will bring you some versatility to your team. At number 49, I have Taylor Rogers. He went back to the Brewers in the Josh Hader deal, but he did not pitch very well for the Brewers. A 5.07 FIP compared to a 2.34 with the San Diego Padres. However, with Taylor Rogers, he does have a track record, so he can be very useful to a lot of bullpens. At number 48, I have Aroldis Chapman. What the heck has happened to Aroldis Chapman? He didn't show up to the Yankees workout in the postseason. He got left off of the ALDS roster against the Guardians, and he's had some tough times over the last couple of years, both with his numbers and his health. This past year, 4.46 ERA, 4.57 FIP. It seems like ever since they took away the sticky stuff, something has not worked with Aroldis Chapman. However, he has the track record, a lot of strikeouts with him. I'm sure he can turn his career around and help out another team's bullpen. At number 47, I have Sean Manaea. After getting traded to the Padres last offseason, he did not do very well with the Padres. A 4.96 ERA, a 4.53 FIP, got lit up in the postseason. But with Sean Manaea, he does have a track record, had some good seasons with the Oakland A's. He can still be a decent piece at the back end of a rotation. Let's see what team Manaea ends up with. At number 46, I have Trey Mancini. What a great story, overcoming cancer, and now he gets to test the open market. With the Orioles this past season, he was pretty good. Had a .347 on base, 10 homers, 41 RBIs, but after getting traded to the Astros, not a whole lot of slash line. Did have 8 homers, but with Trey Mancini, I think if he can get a starting job somewhere, I think he can get back to being a bit more consistent. Trey Mancini, I definitely think some teams will be after his bat. At number 45, I have Joey Gallo. My, oh my, this is going to be an interesting one this offseason. Joey Gallo, look at the slash line. Only hit 160 with a 280 on base, a 357 slugging, but this guy can still get into him. He can hit for a lot of power still. I'm sure if he can go to a team that can help fix his swing, I think Joey Gallo can end up getting back to being the force that he once was. At number 44, I have Michael Conforto. Remember Michael Conforto? He was with the Mets at one point, ended up becoming a free agent last offseason, but no one wanted to sign him because he had draft pick compensation tied to him. But even after the draft, no team wanted to sign him because he had shoulder issues, but he should be good to go for next season. I'm excited to see where he could end up. Remember, with Michael Conforto, pretty decent hitter, can hit for some power, some average, he can get on base. I think Michael Conforto is one of the more interesting free agents this offseason. At number 43, I have Andrew Heaney. My, oh my, Andrew Heaney had himself a pretty decent season this last year. He was dealing with some health, but overall, over 16 games, a 3.10 ERA, a 3.75 FIP. He had over 13 and a half strikeouts per 9. Those are really solid numbers. Let's see where Andrew Heaney could end up, help out, somewhere in the mid to back end of the rotation. At number 42, I have Michael Wacha. Speaking of guys turning around their careers, how about Michael Wacha with my Red Sox this past year? 23 starts, a 3.32 ERA. The FIP is a little higher at 4.14. Sure, he dealt with some arm fatigue at one point, but Michael Wacha with a very solid season overall. I'm excited to see where he will land. At number 41, I have Brandon Belt. A bit of a lost season for Brandon Belt in 2022, having knee problems over 78 games, only hitting .213 with a 326 on base and a 350 slugging. But going back to 2021, he had 29 homers, had a 378 on base, a 597 slugging. Brandon Belt, if healthy, can still be a pretty productive player. At number 40, I have Rafael Montero. My goodness, what a season for Rafael Montero out of the Astros bullpen. 71 games, a 2.37 ERA, a 2.64 FIP. Considering how bad he was in 2021, those are phenomenal numbers. Strikeouts are up, kept the walks down, kept the home runs down. Rafael Montero will be a hot commodity for other teams' bullpens. At number 39, I have Michael Brantley, another one on this list that dealt with some health problems this past year. Only 64 games played, but he hit .288, a 370 on base is really good. I still think Michael Brantley, when healthy, can be a really solid player in your lineup. At number 38, I have Mitch Haniger, another guy with health problems last year. Only played 57 games, only hit .246 with a 308 on base and a 429 slugging. But in 2021, he had 39 homers and 100 RBIs. When healthy, this guy can definitely be a boost for a lineup. At number 37, I have JD Martinez. JD Martinez was not bad at all last year, but not the normal JD Martinez season that we're used to seeing. Over 139 games, hit .274 with a 341 on base, a 448 slugging, 16 homers. Not normal typical JD Martinez kind of numbers. Maybe he was dealing with something mechanically last year, maybe some health issues, but still, JD Martinez can be a very good bat in anyone's lineup. At number 36, I have Christian Vazquez, JD Martinez's old teammate. Christian Vazquez, you're not going to get a whole lot with the bat, hitting 274 with a 315 on base, a 399 slugging between the Red Sox and the Astros this past year, but Christian Vazquez, you're going to get a very good catcher, a very good defensive catcher, works well with the pitchers. Christian Vazquez can still be a very valuable piece to any team. At number 35, I have Jock Peterson. Not a bad season for Jock Peterson at all, hitting 274 with a 353 on base, a 521 slugging, 23 homers, a 144 WRC plus. But with Jock Peterson, it's mostly going to be production against right-handed bats. You're also not going to get great defense out of him, but still, Jock Peterson always finds a way to latch on with a team and be productive as well. At number 34, I have Noah Syndergaard. Basically missed 2 seasons from Tommy John surgery, but not a bad year this year between the Angels and the Phillies, helping out the Phillies in the postseason. Overall, 25 games, a 3.94 ERA, 3.83 FIP. The strikeouts are down from his career average, but Noah Syndergaard, he can still be very productive at the back end of anyone's rotation. At number 33, I have Kolten Wong. There is a club option on Kolten Wong, so the Brewers could exercise that, but if he does become a free agent, he'll be a really solid player on the market. Hit 251 this past year with a 339 on base. That's pretty good. A 430 slugging, 15 homers. However, with Kolten Wong, usually it's his defense that is the selling point, but his defense was pretty bad this year. A negative 6.1 defense on Fangraphs. However, Kolten Wong, if he does become a free agent, he'll be a solid addition for many teams out there. At number 32, I have Mike Zunino. Basically a lost season for Mike Zunino. Had to get thoracic outlet surgery this past year. But Mike Zunino, when he's healthy, this is a very good catcher with a lot of power. If we go take a look at his 2021 season, he hit 33 homers, had 62 RBIs, had a 559 slugging, and he was one of the best defensive catchers in Major League Baseball. Mike Zunino, he has said recently that he's feeling healthy. Let's see where Mike Zunino ends up. I think he could be a really underrated free agent this offseason. At number 31, I have KENLEY JANSEN. Another solid season for KENLEY JANSEN. 65 games, a 3.38 ERA, a 3.21 FIP, had 41 saves this past season. KENLEY JANSEN continues to be one of the better closers in the game. Let's see where he ends up. At number 30, I have Jameson Taillon. Jameson Taillon was not bad at all this year. 32 starts, a 3.91 ERA, a 3.94 FIP. Where he did something different was he focused a little bit more on control and getting ground balls. Strikeouts were down from 2021, but his walks were down, and he got a lot more ground balls. Jameson Taillon, he can throw a whole bunch of different pitches. I think it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up. At number 29, I have Carlos Carrasco. There is a club option on Carlos Carrasco. I do think the Mets will exercise it, but if he does become a free agent, he's going to be a pretty good one. 29 starts, a 3.97 ERA, a 3.53 FIP. Had a pretty solid season overall. Pretty underrated season for Carlos Carrasco. It's going to be interesting to see whatever happens with him. At number 28, I have Luis Severino. With the Yankees picking up the club option on Luis Severino, the best replacement for him here is Martin Perez. He had himself a career year with the Texas Rangers. 32 starts, almost 200 innings pitched. Look at these numbers, a 2.89 ERA, a 3.27 FIP. Martin Perez has definitely had his ups and downs in his career with my Red Sox in 2020 and 2021. He had some okay moments, had some decent moments, but nothing crazy by any means. But with the Rangers, they completely figured something out. They really went sinker heavy with him. They just completely had him ditch the fastball completely. They went with the sinkers, they went with the cutters, and it was a formula that worked out. Now, Martin Perez, can he keep this success going with another team? Could he go back to the Rangers? I definitely think that's a possibility. But Martin Perez, I definitely think is one of the more interesting starting pitching free agents on the market. At number 27, I have Jerickson Profar. Jerickson Profar ended up having a pretty decent season in 2022. Had a 243 average, but a 331 on base is pretty solid. A 110 WRC plus, 15 homers. Now with Profar, he played a lot of left field this past year with the Padres, but he can move around. He can play other positions. I definitely think with him, if he does not exercise the player option, which I definitely think he might turn it down. He might go test out the market because he had a decent season. He could end up being a pretty good option for a lot of teams out there. At number 26, I got Corey Kluber. Corey Kluber continues to be solid even at 36 years old. With the Rays last year, 31 starts, 4.34 ERA, but look at the FIP, a 3.57. That's pretty pretty solid. Corey Kluber, the Klubot, continues to pitch well after missing some time a couple of years ago. Let's see where Corey Kluber can end up. He can still help out a rotation out there. At number 25, I have Kudai Senga. This is one of the more interesting free agents this offseason. A starting pitcher coming over from Japan that can throw absolute gas, can go over 100 with the fastball. He's had some really good numbers over the last couple of years. Last year, over 22 games, had a 1.94 ERA, about 10 strikeouts per 9. There's a lot of interest in Kudai Senga, a lot of intrigue. It's going to be interesting to see. He hasn't had a big workload in Japan, but teams think that he should be able to handle it. I definitely think he's a dark horse starting pitching free agent this offseason. At number 24, I have Brandon Drury. A breakout season for Brandon Drury. He started off with the Cincinnati Reds, had 20 homers, 59 RBIs, was hitting .274 with a .335 on base, and a .520 slugging. Really good numbers overall. Went to the Padres, was still hitting for some power, 8 homers, 28 RBIs, but the slash line did dip with the Padres, but he did produce in the postseason. I expect Brandon Drury to be a pretty decent target for a lot of teams out there. Why? Because he can hit with the bat, having the breakout year, but he can also play multiple positions as well. Definitely look for Brandon Drury to get a pretty decent contract this offseason. At number 23, I have Taijuan Walker. Taijuan Walker had a really good first half of the season in 2022, but then his numbers did dip a little bit in the second half. His strikeouts did go up, but so did his walks. The home runs stayed around the same. But overall, Taijuan Walker, a pretty solid season, a 3.49 ERA, a 3.65 FIP over 29 starts. He's shown over the last couple of years that he is healthy. He can give you some innings. I expect Taijuan Walker to be a pretty well sought after free agent in this offseason starting pitching market. At number 22, I have Ross Stripling. In the Blue Jays rotation, you mainly looked at Kevin Gausman and Alek Manoah, but Ross Stripling was extremely underrated this year as the Blue Jays number 3 starter. He had 32 games overall, 24 starts, a 3.01 ERA, a 3.11 FIP, and this was all done in a very good division in the American League East. Ross Stripling can easily be a 3 or 4 in any team's rotation. At number 21, I have Jose Quintana having his best season since 2019. Overall, 32 starts, a 2.93 ERA, a 2.99 FIP. The Pirates signed him for cheap, ended up trading him to the Cardinals. He produced well there. I expect Jose Quintana, just like these other starting pitchers, to be well sought after in this offseason. At number 20, I have Josh Bell. Remember when Juan Soto got traded to the Padres? Well, Josh Bell was in that deal as well. Ended up having a pretty solid season overall, hitting .266, a 362 on base, a 422 slugging, a 123 WRC plus, 17 homers. You would like those home runs to come back up to what they were in 2021 and 2019, but Josh Bell, he can hit from both sides of the plate. I definitely think he's going to be one of the more well sought after bats in this offseason. At number 19, I have Justin Turner. Even at 37 years old, my fellow Ginger is still producing at a high level. Hit .278 with a 350 on base and a 438 slugging. Actually, in the second half, he did way better. Hit .319 compared to .256 in the first half. The question is, with Justin Turner, will the Dodgers exercise his club option? It'll be interesting to see whether or not Turner will be a Dodger next season. At number 18, I have Nathan Eovaldi. An up-and-down season for Eovaldi. Had some health issues, only had 20 starts, a 3.87 ERA, but that FIP is a little higher at 4.30. Again, had health issues. He was inconsistent this year, but if you go back to his 2021 season, 32 starts, had over 180 innings pitched, a 5.7 Fangraph WAR. When Eovaldi is healthy, he can definitely be a 2 or a 3 in a rotation. I wonder if the Red Sox will try to bring him back on a one-year deal, something like that. We'll just have to wait and see. At number 17, I have Anthony Rizzo. The star of the show in the Bronx this year was Aaron Judge, but Anthony Rizzo had himself a very solid season. Hit 32 homers, had a 338 on base, a 480 slugging, a 132 WRC plus. Very good numbers for Anthony Rizzo. With Anthony Rizzo, he can opt out, so that is the question as of right now. But if he does, this is going to be a good bat on the market, and he's also a good clubhouse guy. At number 16, I have Andrew Benintendi. Anthony Rizzo's teammate for a little while, had a really good season until he broke his wrist. But over 126 games, he hit .304 with a 373 on base. The slugging and the home runs were a little down, but Benintendi, he is a very good contact hitter. He's going to be a good bat at the top of anyone's lineup. At number 15, I have Tyler Anderson. Tyler Anderson with the breakout year with the Dodgers. My goodness, 30 games, 28 starts, a 2.57 ERA, a 3.31 FIP. He was pitching in the postseason. Tyler Anderson with his best season to date. Way better than anything he had done before. The best season that he had before this point was his rookie season in 2016 with the Rockies. He really figured something out with the Dodgers here. I would expect the Dodgers would want to hang on to him. They figured something out with him. Let's see what ends up happening. Could he stay, or could he go after a big contract with another team? At number 14, I have Chris Bassitt. A really solid season for the Mets this year. They came up short in the playoffs, but Bassitt was definitely good all season for them. 30 starts, a 3.42 ERA, a 3.66 FIP. Chris Bassitt, sure, had his struggles in the postseason, but this is a guy who can be in the middle of any rotation, and he can be very solid. At number 13, I have Edwin Diaz. I think a guy that can make the top 50 is Zach Eflin. He pitched pretty well in the postseason. The Phillies just falling short of a World Series championship. You know, Zach Eflin this year did battle some injuries. Overall, 20 games. He had 13 starts, 75 innings, a 4.04 ERA, but a 3.56 FIP. Not too bad if you ask me. Sure, the strikeouts are a little low, under 8 per 9, but he keeps the walks down, under 2 walks per 9, and he keeps the home runs down, under a home run per 9 this past year. But like I said, pitched well in the postseason. 10 games overall, a 2.64 FIP. His strikeouts were actually up in the postseason at around 10, and once again, keeping the walks and the home runs down as well. I think Zach Eflin could be a pretty underrated guy on this market. He could sign a cheaper deal, maybe a year with an option or something like that. He's only 28 years old. Zach Eflin, I still think he has a lot to offer. At number 12, I have Wilson Contreras. There were some rumors at the deadline that he could have been moved, but the Cubs decided to hang on to him, so now he is a free agent. Over 113 games, hit 22 homers, had a 349 on base, a 466 slugging, a 132 WRC plus. With Wilson Contreras, you're going to get decent defense for the most part. He's not going to be the most flashy glove out there, more offense on his part, but Wilson Contreras, I definitely think he can be a very good bat for a lot of lineups out there. At number 11, I have Clayton Kershaw. Despite another season having some health problems, Clayton Kershaw continues to put together one of the best starting pitching careers of all time. Clayton Kershaw this year, over 22 starts, a 2.28 ERA, a 2.57 FIP, right about 10 strikeouts per 9, kept the walks down, the home runs down. Clayton Kershaw, when he's healthy, he is going to be very good for you either way. It'll be interesting to see, will he stay with the Dodgers? Can he stay with the Dodgers for his entire career, or could he finally end up going elsewhere? At number 10, I have Jose Abreu. We have reached the top 10, and what a bat we got here. Jose Abreu this year, another good season. The home runs were a little down, 15 home runs overall this year. That's half of what he had in 2021, but the slash line was overall pretty solid. Hit 304, a 378 on base, a 137 WRC plus. Jose Abreu will instantly improve any team's lineup. At number 9, I have Brandon Nimmo, one of the more underrated free agents in this market. I think Brandon Nimmo, an on-base machine, is going to be well sought after. Hit 274, a 367 on base. That is lower from what it had been in the couple of previous seasons, but still really good overall. A 433 slugging, a 134 WRC plus, 16 homers, had 64 RBIs, scored 102 runs. Brandon Nimmo, he is going to improve any lineup at the top of the order. At number 8, I have Justin Verlander. What an amazing season from Justin Verlander. Most likely going to win the Cy Young after missing a year due to Tommy John. 28 starts, a 1.75 ERA, a 2.49 FIP. The strikeouts were solid at 9.5. He kept the walks down at 1.5, under a home run per 9. Justin Verlander, man, this guy just keeps on going. As Draftnik Mark likes to say, he ages like fine wine. 39 years old. He did miss some time towards the end of the season, but ended up being fine in the postseason. I'm excited to see where Verlander ends up going. Will he stay with the Astros, or could he go elsewhere? At number 7, I have Carlos Correa. What an offseason last year. Carlos Correa, you didn't know where he was going to go. He's going to go to the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Yankees. Ended up going to the Minnesota Twins. What the heck? That still blows my mind. But Carlos Correa, he signed a 3-year deal, but there was an opt-out for this offseason. He is going to opt out. He has basically already said it, but He is going to be one of the top shortstops on this market. There's a lot of good shortstops on this market, and they just all happen to be in the top 10 here. Spoiler alert. But Carlos Correa, 291 average, a 366 on base, a 467 slugging, a 140 WRC plus, 22 homers over 136 games, plays great defense. Overall, Carlos Correa is one of the best shortstops out there. Let's see if he can get himself the long-term deal that he was looking for last offseason. At number 6, I have Dansby Swanson. Dansby Swanson, what a good season in 2022. The slash line, a little low, 277 average, a 329 on base, a 447 slugging, a 116 WRC plus, but 25 home runs, had 96 RBIs. He also stole 18 stolen bases, but the defense from Dansby Swanson is off the charts. One of the best overall shortstops in the game. He's going to get himself a fat contract. At number 5, I have Xander Bogaerts. He can opt out this offseason, and most likely he is going to do just that. Xander Bogaerts continues to be one of the most solid shortstops in the game, especially offensively. While the power was a little down this year at 15 home runs, the slash line was very solid overall. Hit 307, a 377 on base, a 456 slugging, a 134 WRC plus. He plays, for the most part, pretty solid defense out there. Xander Bogaerts, Red Sox Nation would love for him to end up staying long-term. I hope he does. He's been just so good for the Red Sox for so long. But with the Red Sox, you never know with these contract extensions. You never know what they're going to do. Remember John Lester back in 2014 or after 2014, and then he ended up going to the Cubs, helped them win a World Series. Will the Red Sox do the same thing with Bogaerts? We'll just have to wait and see. At number 4, I have Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon, for the longest time, the big question mark with him was health. But this year, 178 innings over 31 starts with the Giants. It seems like he has figured it out health-wise. And my goodness, these numbers were absolutely fantastic. Could absolutely win the Cy Young in the National League. A 2.88 ERA, 2.25 FIP. 12 strikeouts per 9, 2.5 walks per 9, under a home run per 9. These are just great numbers. Carlos Rodon, he's going to look to see if he can get himself a long-term deal. I think he will. Definitely one of the best starting pitchers out there this offseason. At number 3, I have Jacob deGrom. With deGrom, it's simple. When he's healthy, he's the best pitcher in the universe. He is absolutely nasty. This year, he dealt with some health issues, had a broken scapula or whatever the heck it was, but 11 starts this year, a 3.08 ERA, but a 2.13 FIP. My goodness, Jacob deGrom, just amazing numbers. 14 strikeouts per 9, a walk per 9, a little over a home run per 9. You gotta remember with deGrom, man, he was coming back, didn't really get himself fully into a groove. He had 11 starts, gave up a few home runs against the Braves in that last big series against them that ended up deciding the division. But Jacob deGrom, if he's healthy, this guy is lights out. It's going to be really interesting to see whatever ends up happening. Could he get a bit of a short-term deal like Max Scherzer did? You know, a 3-year deal. Could he end up getting a 5-year deal? It'll be interesting, especially health-wise. I could see teams being a little weary of the health issues with him. But if he's healthy, this guy just sends your rotation to the moon. At number 2, I have Trea Turner. Another good season for Trea Turner. Remember, he got traded to the Dodgers with Max Scherzer last year. Ended up having another good season this year. Hit 298, a 343 on base, a 466 slugging, a 128 WRC plus, 21 homers, had 100 RBIs, but he can also steal a ton of bases, 27 stolen bases. Sure, he can have his moments out there defensively, but a 7.1 defense overall is really solid. Trea Turner, one of the best players in the game. This guy's going to get himself a fat contract. I'm excited to see where he ends up going. And last but not least, at number 1, I have Aaron Judge. Was there any surprise here? This guy was an absolute monster this year, breaking Roger Maris's American League record of 61 home runs, had 62, hit 311, 425 on base, 686 slugging, a 207 WRC plus. These are just monster numbers. At 11.4 Fangraph WAR, him and the Yankees, they couldn't come to terms on an extension during the season. Let's see if he ends up staying with the Yankees. This dude is going to get himself a fat contract wherever he ends up going. He's going to improve any lineup just so much. My goodness, Aaron Judge, an absolute monster out there. Just like all these other guys, I'm very excited to see where he ends up playing next year. So that's my list. Tell me what you think down below. Do you think any of these guys should be lower, higher? Do you think I missed anyone on this list? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. But that's all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.